I'm just learning through a source familiar with the investigation telling me that there were 2 human remains found on the property of Chad Daybell today during a search warrant that was executed starting at 7 a.m. this morning. And that is what the breaking news is, that 2 sets of human remains were found on the property. We're expecting to hear from Rexburg police at any time on the latest in this investigation. But what we do know is that Chad Daybell, the husband of Lori Vallow Daybell, was arrested earlier today around 11 a.m. He has been in custody. He's being held at the Fremont County Jail. His wife, Lori, held at the Madison County Jail, neighboring jails, while the sheriff's office there in Fremont County is not releasing what charges he's being held on. They will say that the charge or charges is a felony. He's being held without bond. And moving forward, this is a huge change in the investigation for the missing children, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, who were last seen last September. Both Chad and Lori not telling authorities where the children were. Lori sitting in jail facing charges of child abandonment, and now this huge development with charges for her husband, Chad Daybell, after a full day of searching his property, finding 2 sets of human remains.
We're taking a look now at some of the aerial views of what was taking place in his backyard, and we're getting word right now that at the bottom of the hour, Rexburg PD scheduling a press conference to give us even more information relative to this case. So stand by for that. We'll carry that for you live here on Court TV. Bottom of the hour, the absolute latest in the investigation from investigators out in Idaho. Chanley, this is, it's taken a lot of time to get to where we are right now. They did search his house once before, right? Back in January, they searched. But at that point, I'm sure the ground was probably covered in snow and frozen, and they didn't find anything relative to remains. But I'm wondering what they found then and what led them to these specific places in his backyard today.
Yes, that search warrant, we know as lawyers, has to be specific to what they expect to find on the property. And yes, this is the second time authorities have executed a search warrant on Chad Daybell's property, the first one being January 3rd, right in the wintertime there in Rexburg, Idaho. And we do know that based on what that warrant, authorities were seen taking out of the home reportedly, 43 different items of evidence. Who knows if maybe some of that evidence gathered back then in January was processed that led them to a second search warrant executed today. That's yet to be seen because the warrant today was filed sealed, confidential. So we don't know exactly what they were using or what exactly they were looking for. We just know what resulted so far, and that's 2 sets of human remains.
Chanley, as this case is developing and word is coming out that remains from 2 different humans were found in the backyard. All right, Lori Vallow Daybell is locked up. Do we know whether or not she even knows? I mean, here in prison, I don't know if you necessarily get the news. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But has she released a statement? Do we know what she actually knows at this point? Any information like that?
We don't know exactly what she knows at this point. We know Madison County, Fremont County, it's a small rural area. I'm sure word travels fast there at the county jails. Who knows if she actually is aware of what's been going on today. We do know that she was represented by the same attorney as her husband, Chad Daybell, before this time. Mark Means, who we saw represent her in the recent bail reduction hearing, that was unsuccessful. And so now with Chad facing criminal charges, we know it's an ethical violation to be represented by the same attorney. So it seems as though he has his own attorney now. They're separate. Not sure how the lines of communications are happening, whether Lori knows anything. But if I was guessing, we as former prosecutors would probably be talking to whatever lawyers or representatives of these clients, trying to find out what they know. Will they talk to us? Will they work against each other? How can we maybe settle this, or how will this move forward? What more can we learn now that both are facing criminal charges?
All right, let's bring